Middos Daf Lamed Vav. On the base of the Mizbeach on the Yesod, in the southwest corner, there were two drains, small drains that resembled nostrils. One on the south side, one on the west side. There was a groove on the base that led all the blood that came off the south wall and the west wall, blood that came from the Chatas HaPnimi, Chatas HaChitzoni, went down the groove into the drains, from the drains into the shis, from the shis into the Amma. The Amma was a drainage system in the Azara, which was an Amma wide and Amma deep, therefore it was called an Amma. From there it left the Beis HaMikdash to Nachal Kidron. The same corner, the southwest corner, also had a latch, a piece of marble with a handle on it, where the Kohanim could lift it up and go into the shis and clean it out once in a while from the congealed blood and wine. The actual ramp was 16 amas wide by 32 amas long on the base of the Mizbeach. In middle of the ramp, there was a niche where they would place the chatos oif birds that were puzzled and wait overnight until they were able to destroy them. Where did they get all the stones for the Mizbeach? There's two halachas when it comes to these stones. It's very difficult to find the stones. You cannot touch a stone with a piece of metal, and if you do, the stone is puzzled forever, even if you don't know about it in later generations. Let's say 100 years before the Beis HaMikdash, somebody touched a stone with a piece of metal, it's puzzled forever, and that would puzzle all the korbanos in the Mizbeach. If it had a little nick, even so small that if you run your fingernail on the stone, your fingernail will get caught in it, that puzzles the stone. Therefore, they had to go to Beis HaKerem and unearth virgin earth and find these stones that were perfectly smooth and were not used with any sort of metal kli, even a shovel or anything to remove them. Twice a year, they would apply a layer of lime on top of the Mizbeach, once in Pesach and once on Sukkot. Rebbe says that's not true. They never applied another layer. They just wiped down the Mizbeach every single week on Friday from all the blood. According to the Tanakama, once a year they would apply a layer of lime to the entire Heichel. North of the Mizbeach was an area called Beis HaMitbachayim. That's where they took off the hide of the animal and cut it up into pieces. And on the floor, as you see in the picture, there were 24 rings to grab the animal's neck during the Shechita. Each ring was for a different mishmar of Kohanim. It was either 4 rows of 6 rings or 6 rows of 4 rings. In the Beis HaMitbachayim, there were 8 poles that consisted of marble on the bottom and cedar on top, because they needed to put in these long hooks that were 3 tefachim long. They had to screw it in. You can't screw a hook into marble, and you can't put wood on the Beis HaMikdash floor. Therefore, on the floor was marble, on top of that was cedar, and there were 3 hooks, one tall one for cows, and the shorter one for the sheep, and the middle one for rams. The kiyar, which Kohanim washed their hands with, was in the area which we call Bein Hu Ulam LaMizbeach, the 22 Amma area, but it wasn't directly between the Mizbeach and the Ulam, it was further south. Between the Ulam and the Mizbeach, there were 22 Ammas of steps. How do you get to 22 Ammas of steps? You have 4 steps. Each step, the rise was a half Amma, and the tread was 1 Amma. 4 steps times 1 Amma is 4 Ammas. Then you had a landing, which was 3 Ammas, a total of 7 Ammas. You do that times 3, you have 21. Only the top tread was 4 Ammas, which gave us 22 Ammas. According to Rabbi Yehuda, the top tread was 5 Ammas, therefore you must remove 1 Amma from the other treads in order to achieve the 22 Amma distance. The Ulam entrance was larger than all the entrances, as we said yesterday, was 40 Ammas high and 20 Ammas wide. On top of the Ulam, there were 5 moldings or decorative pieces of cedar. The bottom piece, touching the door, was 1 Amma, extended 1 Amma to each side for a total of 22 Ammas. And on top of that was a row of stones. On top of that, another piece of cedar which extended beyond the original piece of cedar, another Amma, and so on and so forth 5 times. Whereas the top cedar was 30 Ammas wide, 10 Ammas wider than the actual entrance to the Ulam. The Ulam itself was 100 Ammas high, and therefore needed a brace support, which went, pieces of cedar went from the Heichal to the Ulam and held the Ulam in place so it should not buckle. There were golden chains from the top ceiling of the Ulam all the way down, which Kohanim would climb on to check the windows of the Heichal, or some say it was actual crowns of the Heichal. There were a vine, there was wood and a vine of grapes, which was made out of gold. Anytime somebody came and wanted to donate to the Beis HaMikdash, would take either a grape or a cluster of grapes and hang it on that vine. As the Mishnah says, and we had it the other week, that it got so heavy that once 300 Kahanim had to lift it up, and the Gemara says in Talmud that that's one of the exaggerations in Shas. With that we finish Perek HaMizbeach. Says the Mishnah, the Heichal, the entrance to the Heichal was a regular sized door, which was 20 wide, 20 amas wide, 20 amas tall, and 10 amas wide. The door system is interesting. It had 2 doors plus 2 doors. 2 doors, it was 10 amas wide, so it needed 2 doors, 5 amas each, and it had a double layer. In other words, the width of the door was 6 amas, and there was doors on the front and doors in the back, and they opened up to cover the walls that didn't have, the entire Heichal was coated with gold, besides behind these doors. So when you opened up the door completely, that covered the doors. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it was 2 sets of bifold doors which didn't cover walls, they just met together in between the doors. On the entrance, right next to the entrance of the Heichal, which is called the Shara Gadol because it had a lot of Kedusha, there were 2 smaller doors called Pishpishim. The south one was for HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachal, and no one was allowed to go in and out of that door. Every morning, the Kohen would go through the north one with the set of keys, and there's machlokes how exactly he went. According to the Tanna Kama, he went through the Ta and came into the Heichal, and from the Heichal he opened up the doors from the inside. According to Rabbi Yehuda, as you see in the red, he went right through the wall in between the 2 sets of doors, so he never made it into the Heichal, and from there he opened up the 2 sets of doors. Have a wonderful day.